I'm Austin Lugo.
I'm Andrew Harp.
I'm Shannon Mitchell.
This is With Nothing to Say.
Let's talk about Phantom of the Paradise.
Before we get started today, I just want to apologize for my voice. I lost it about a week ago and it is slowly recovering, but it is a process of sorts. Hopefully Andrew and Shannon will take over the majority of talking on this one. I'll do what I can, but it's also been like a week and a half since I've seen this movie. So, what I even remember won't be that valuable. But before we talk about this week's episode, next week we are watching All That Jazz, this movie none of us have seen. Andrew, you suggested this movie. Was there any particular reason you suggested it?
No, I just heard it was like really good. It's a musical movie. I heard it's very, very good.
All right, dope. Then let's get into it. This week we are talking about The Phantom of the Paradise. Andrew, this was your week to pick. You got to pick any movie you wanted that you had seen before. Why did you pick this one?
Yes, sir. You said that like, oh, I saw it a week and a half ago, so I wouldn't remember anything. It's maybe the most exciting and eventful movie ever made. I remember it very well. It's unlike you guys, is a movie I watched recently. I didn't watch it growing up or anything like that. I watched it maybe like a year or two ago. And it's 1974, directed by Brian De Palma, who is a director I've become familiar with over the past couple of years. And he's definitely one of my all-time favorites, more recent favorites, because, yeah, his movies are absolutely fucking insane. They are off the wall, fucking crazy. I might have said on the show before, but he's like a hornier, more coked out version of like Alfred Hitchcock. He loves Hitchcock, and he borrows a lot from him in like many different ways, including images, filming styles and techniques, and even just straight up like stories and characters and stuff like that. He'll rip a lot of stuff from Hitchcock, but I think I think his movies are a little, they're crazier. They're more violent and then erotic. This is like a relatively early movie of his, and it's probably his most unique movie out of all of his stuff. He usually does like horror movies or like thrillers and stuff like that. This is just like a straight up kind of like rock musical horror comedy, pretty much. It's just one of the greatest like movies ever. Yeah, I just had to pick it because it's extremely unique.
I really appreciate that as we come to the end of our journey together, as the three of us have picked our three movies, that they are perhaps the most symbolic of us as human beings and the type of films that we like. Like, not what could possibly be a better representation of Andrew's taste in movies than The Phantom of Paradise. Like, it's the epitome of Andrew. It really is.
It goes off, dude. 90 minutes, just absolutely insane, fast pace, totally weird, almost doesn't make any sense. And it's a movie too that out of nowhere will introduce like fantastical elements out of fucking like nowhere. Like, it's just insane. And the music, it's amazing. Like, yeah, I could go on and on, but we'll talk about it as we like go through the movie. It's definitely up there for me as an all-timer because it's just so fucking unbelievable that it exists. Like, I cannot believe that it exists. It really should not exist. It really should, because it's an amalgamation of so many things, of like horror, comedy, rock and roll, and it also like has literary influences and like Portrait of Dorian Gray, Faust, and of course Phantom of the Opera, which is kind of takes the name from it. It really should not work at all, but for me it hits a sweet spot. It's great. To introduce the movie, just to get into it, first of all, you get two beautiful intros. First of all, you get a voiceover, really for no discernible reason, just because you get Rod Serling. He does an introductory voiceover, which is like unbelievable. Just right out the gate, you get Rod Serling. He basically just kind of lays out like, I don't know, like what the movie is going to be about, kind of.
It's like a episode of The Twilight Zone. They basically give you like the plot,
which is amazing. And then you get the actual intro of the movie, which is the best possible intro to any movie I think I've ever seen, where you get an amazing performance of the hit song Goodbye Eddie Goodbye by the Juicy Fruits. Man, like, And that opening scene with the made-up band, the Juicy Fruits, performing that song.
What a number.
It's so much fun.
They crush it.
They kill it. It's a great song.
It's fucking awesome.
It's so long too. Like while I was watching it, I was like, man, do I like musicals? Because I was watching it and I was like, God, this song is so long.
It's a good song.
When is it? But it was with every single song though. Every single song, I was like, why is this still happening?
You didn't like that? You didn't like that they were kind of long?
So no, it's because I'm an elitist and because I'm very particular about what makes a good musical, and I find it annoying when music happens for arbitrary reasons.
You think this is arbitrary? I don't know if it's arbitrary, but I want to know more.
Not the beginning part with the Juicy Fruits, or like when Beef comes on, who was my favorite.
Okay, we'll talk about that character later. We'll talk about that the best character
In the whole film. But like, so there's just times I'm like, why is this song happening right now?
I don't think songs happen too often. Well, I don't think there's a lot of songs. The opening, you get like 2 songs right away.
Yeah,
which is a little like, oh, okay.
But they kind of make sense in the structure of the story. They are quite literally performing these songs. At the beginning, I was like, is this like the Ed Sullivan Show? I was like really confused. But then I think they were just like performing for the Swan. Oh, okay, like this is the Ed Sullivan Show, but there weren't any cameras. And then I realized that like they were just like performing it, and I was like, this is not the Ed Sullivan Show.
It's like a party or something, or it's like a venue or something. Yeah, but the song, I like the song because it's like a doo-wop parody song, right? Like it's like
nostalgia music. That's how they describe it, right? In the film, they literally call it like nostalgia music.
Because I think like in the 70s and 80s, you had this period where people started getting a little nostalgic about like the 50s and maybe 60s a little bit. Like what George Lucas's most famous, one of his early films, American Graffiti. That's just like a 50s nostalgia, and that was like one of his biggest, movies. Well, not one of his biggest movies, but a movie that helped him get into Star Wars.
That's what he's famous for, American Graffiti. That's what we all know George Lucas for.
Right. But before that, he did THX, and then he did American Graffiti. But, I'm just saying that like there was that period of time in the 70s and into the 80s where there was just like this weird 50s nostalgia thing. But the song is still really good, even though it's kind of making fun of that, like kind of like a nostalgia worship thing. The song is still really good. You get the Juicy Fruits, and we're not formally, but we're semi-introduced to Swan, played by motherfucking Paul Williams, who rocks. He is like
the shortest man alive.
He's the shortest man alive, but he's got tons of swag. He's got a lot of swag. I like Paul Williams. People like maybe my age might know him as like he provides vocals for this Daft Punk song Touch, which is a great song, which was on their last album, Random Access Memories, and he kills it. But he's probably most known for being the main composer of the Muppets music for like a lot of the movies. But he also composed all the music for this movie, of course. And he also like wrote all the music, I think, and he composed all of it. And he also plays Swan.
Swan is a nefarious, greedy, power-hungry music producer who basically like runs the music world, but also like he's extremely manipulative and is just willing to murder or sleep with pretty much anyone. I mean, basically a man who lacks any ethics or morals and cares only about sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Yeah. He's also very reclusive in his own little way. Like, as we learn later in the movie, he doesn't allow to be photographed or videotaped, but he has his own team that records like videos of him all the time.
Everything. Literally always.
He's a little guy that packs a punch. He's like Andrew aptly said, has a lot of swag.
He's got so much swag.
He's like the head of Death Records, which obviously is a fictional, record label that does seem to be like a massive powerhouse. in the recording industry. And yeah, he's just like super sexy, super like at least everybody thinks so.
Yeah, in the movie. Yeah.
He is like he's like cunning, like he's incredibly smart.
He's like really smart.
After the juicy fruits, so we see for a brief second that there's this character who kind of looks like a misfit, who obviously doesn't like the juicy fruits. He like replaces the juicy fruits name on like a billboard with his name. After the juicy fruits perform and they like leave, and then you see a character named Philkin, who is like
his right-hand man.
Yeah, the right-hand man. He's like the producer's assistant. I don't know. He's just like something. A personal manager, maybe, you know, something like that. He's really funny. He's hilarious. It's like in a low angle and he's looking directly at the camera. So it like seems like he's like talking to the swan, but it seems like he's talking to you.
I noticed
like,
that like when you look closely enough, you can see his reflection. You can't see the swan's reflection.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know, because he's wearing glasses, right? Or in the
and there's like a window. They're like they're against a window. Oh my gosh.
They're sort of like in this eagle's nest that like looks over the like venue that they're in. And he's like complaining about this like woman that they signed on and like all like this like lawsuit or something that's
she was going to be the big, you know, the next big hit for them or something. And she ended up being a bust.
Yeah. And the swan's like, it's fine. Like, I don't really care. Although it does kind of seem like when I was watching that part that he was like kneeling in between the swan's legs.
Yeah.
like the position that he's in, like it doesn't look like he's standing.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, it's weird. Like, yeah, De Palma, like his movies are so weird. Like he, as we will talk about later in the movie, I mean, he uses every kind of like filmmaking trick and angle. Like he's just so weird like that. Even in the opening, and like shit will happen in the background too. Like even in the opening song that we just mentioned, like I like when like they're fighting, like they're like a whole thing happens in the background while they're doing the song and stuff. And then, well, like you said, the conversation that you're mentioning, while that's going on, Winslow Leach is getting set up in the background too. So you see like them clear out. Yeah, like this whole time they're talking, when like the juicy fruits, they clear out, and then Winslow Leach like goes on so he can do a song. It's William Finley, who is like an early actor collaborator with De Palma, and then he didn't become super famous, but he ended up in some like early Tobe Hooper movies as well, and he's really good in this movie. This is probably I haven't seen a lot of him, but this is probably his biggest performance. I mean, like he kills it.
But he plays his song of something that he's composed and he's singing it, and Swan's like, do you hear that? And he's like, well, yeah, sure, like whatever. And then Swan's like, that's what we're gonna open the paradise with. And he's like, that kid sucks. And he's like, no, not him, his music.
Yeah, like Swan, like he sees something in the music, but he doesn't see anything in Leach. He just hears the music and he's like, yeah, that's it, we got to do it. And he's like, look, go talk to him and basically rip him off. And he's like, okay, just kind of like, hey kid, you know, I like the tracks, you know. And he's like, I do. He's like, yeah, you know, you should. Can I like take your music? And he's like, oh yeah, what I'm doing is I'm working on like a
full-length cantata, like an entire opera
based on a Faust.
Yes, Faust. So we get our first literary reference. One of many.
Yep. He's like, yep, I'm working on the Faust thing, and I think he's like, it's gonna be like 500 pages and things like that. I like the guy too. He's like, look, a song is a song. You either dig it or you don't, which is kind of true. I like that.
During this scene is like the first time you see Winslow get really pissed off, because Philbin's like, oh yeah, you know, like, oh, we might have somebody else sing it. And he gets super pissed off and he like throws him against the wall and is like, nobody else gets to sing my cantata but me. And he's like freaking out, and Philbin's like, okay, Jesus Christ, okay, fine, like whatever, just give it to me, like, just give me your music. And then he's like, I'm so sorry about that. Sometimes I get really angry.
I wonder if that will pay off in the future at all.
He's got a really, really bad temper.
But he's like, yeah, yo, Swan liked it. So you should give me your music and then I will show it to Swan. And he's like, oh, okay.
Just immediately gives it all away. Just like, sure.
Because he gets the chance to be a star.
Yeah. And the first thing you do is just give your entire work to somebody you're not even
Has
meeting.
motherfucker ever heard of like trade secrets or anything? No, man. Yeah, he's just, yeah, it's just a good they make him as like I guess rosy-eyed as possible, very naive. And by the end of the movie, he sees the world clearly in a completely different way. Actually, within maybe like the first like 20 or 30 minutes, he completely transforms into someone complete. He completely changes.
Emotionally, mentally, and physically. All of the above. He becomes a different person.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he's just kind of like, okay, I think it's like months later, weeks later, and he's like, I'm going to go to the Death Records office and see like what the hell is going on.
Hasn't contacted me. Yeah, he hasn't contacted me. Death Records is cool. It's a cool building.
Yeah, the production design of the office looks amazing.
Doesn't the production design remind you of the King of Comedy?
Yes, I thought that I was reminded of the King of Comedy in The Office. Yep, I was. Yeah, I thought that I made that connection too. They're both very, very similar. I agree with you. I agree with you. Yeah, and like The Office and Phantom is like white, bright ceilings, and there's like a lady at the front, black walls. And he's like, I'm Winslow Leach. I'm here to talk to Swan about my music. I gave it to him to read it, and da da da. And she's like, okay, let me look inside. And she looks at this itinerary, like this whole like rotary of like names, and she goes to Winslow's Leach's name and she opens it up and it says in a nice font, never to be seen.
Yeah, and so then she like hits an alarm button, and the next thing you see, he's like thrown out of the building. It's really funny in those moments with the guards and stuff like that. Like throughout the whole film, anytime he's like being chased or there's like guards in it, like most of the time it's very funny when he gets like thrown out of the building.
Yeah, this part of the movie, it goes, I think. I forgot how fast paced it is. Basically, from the beginning of the movie, these first like 20 or 30 minutes, it kind of is basically just like you said, it's him spiraling. And I forget how he finds out, but he goes to the audition next.
He goes to this place called the Swannage, which is which is like the Swan's mansion,
his lair. His dungeon.
Yeah, his dungeon. He's like, if I can't get into Death Records, then I'll go straight to the Swannage and I'll like break into the Swannage. And so he goes there, breaks in, and he sees all of these ladies that are like singing a song. He walks past most of them before getting to just a random one who's singing. He's like, hey, sing that again. She's like, okay. And she like starts singing it.
Okay.
And then he starts singing it with her, and they're like doing that weird thing where like two people are like singing together and they're like, ooh, let me move my finger up and down to show you where the notes go, even though like she has like sheet music right in front of her.
He likes that she's getting it, she's singing it right. She's singing it the way that he wants it to be sung, I guess. Yeah, that's written. Yeah, like you said, like it's written.
And so they're singing, and she's like, wow, how did you know? How did you know how it went? And he's like, well, I wrote it. He has like so stereotypical like 60s like sort of protagonist at the beginning. He's like kind of goofy and like optimistic. Yeah, he's optimistic all the time, and he's kind of just like, yeah, that was me. Yeah, I did that. I wrote this thing. What are you singing it for? And she's like, we're having auditions, whatever. And he was like, well, that's my music. It's like all that like kind of this tone of voice.
Yeah, and there's a lady right behind him, that's just like, well, why isn't your name on it or something like that? It's like Swan wrote the music, and he's like, oh, it must be a mistake.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know, must be a mistake. And he's like, and then he just gets in line with her, and then the guys are like, all right, come on, all right, 1, 2, 3, like, let's get you in here. And they're like, hey man, yeah, you're not a woman. And he's like, hey, I wrote this stuff. I wrote this. And they're like, we don't give a shit.
Yeah, get out.
He like tries to go in, and then you see the unorthodox ways that they audition these girls.
Yeah, it's an audition. Yeah. Yeah. By the way, the singer, of course, played by Jessica Harper. She's probably most known for being the lead in the original Suspiria. She's in a bunch of other De Palma movies, but she's probably most known for being in the original Suspiria, where she plays like a ballet dancer and stuff. But she's great. She's good in this movie too. She plays a Phoenix, which is hilarious. That's her name. It's not she doesn't have a normal name. It's just Phoenix.
But the way that they audition their girls is unconventional, because it's not an audition for being like a singer. It's an audition for being a super sexy lady that will have sex with men.
Yep, you got it. Which, it's De Palma. He basically touches on it really quickly, but it's nothing he doesn't like linger on.
It's not graphic or anything. No, it's not
like a graphic or anything. Yeah.
And then Phoenix is like, no. Phoenix is like, I don't want to do this. So then she's gonna be the female protagonist because she's not a whore. The funniest part about this scene is after she leaves, she's like, oh, this is horrible. They're, whatever.
Yeah, I just want to sing my songs.
And then Leech is like, oh, I'm still gonna see if I can meet Swan. And then they're like, hey, buddy, come here. And there's like these two like guards like walking up to him, and he's like, hey.
They're wearing all denim,
like sleeveless vests. And then they like grab him, and just before it cuts to the next scene, it's the funniest thing. He goes, hey, do you guys know where the hardware store is? And he goes, yeah, we'll show you.
Yeah.
It's the funniest way to kick somebody out of your building.
Oh, it's so weird. Like I said, this part of the movie is so weird. Like it just like as he's trying to like find out what's going on. And the next scene is so weird. I totally forgot about this, where it's Swan's his pad,
his sex lair.
He's got his circular bed, and he's sex lair, and he's got his like silky gold circular bed, and he's got the ladies there, and they're like, oh, I wonder where Swan is, or they're like talking amongst each other. And then you are finally revealed Swan. Swan comes in, and you're revealed who he is, and he looks like Paul Williams. He's the most unusual looking man in the world. He's got like a long bowl haircut, very blonde and shiny, and he's got big glasses. He's so funny. I love Paul Williams. He's so good. He's he's incredible, but he's a weird villain, but he's an effective villain, I think. And it turns out one of the ladies is Leech. I totally forgot about that. I was like, oh shit. He infiltrated his pad with the ladies, and he's like dressed up in a dress and stuff.
Which means he's had sex with Philbin, because like that's the entrance exam.
They don't show at all how he got in at all. We just know he was able to get in. They don't show at all how.
But we do know in the previous audition that the person that they have to get past to be accepted is like by having sex with Philbin.
As far as we know, it could be like several layers of tests before they.
I'm just assuming that he has at least had sex with Philbin and was potentially planning on doing it with Swan too.
He just wants to get closer to Swan because he's like,
he can do whatever, anything for his art. Anything for his art.
He just wants to get closer to Swan to be like, hey, what the fuck is going on, dude? Like, I gave you my music, and it seems like you're sharing it to people. Yeah, you're gonna use it for stuff. And immediately when Swan sees Leech, she's like, yeah, get him out of here.
Slur.
Yeah, he drops an F-bomb.
He drops the F slur, yeah. Which, like, at that time, I mean, I don't want to make excuses for it, but at that time, it was obviously, unfortunately, acceptable to say that. But I was like watching, and it's like the only thing in the whole film that I'm like, It's
a 70s movie, no excuse. But yeah, it's and he is the villain. So I mean, it's at least he's the bad guy.
Yeah. He's not supposed to be a good bot. Yeah, he's not supposed to be a good guy.
Yeah, and I mean, he just kind of calls him the F slur, and he kicks him out. Like, he doesn't listen to him at all.
Yeah, he gets the shit beaten out of him. Like, you don't really see it. You don't really see him getting beat up. You just see him like getting thrown in the bushes.
You also see the aftermath. His face is like fucked up.
Yeah, his face is fucked up. And the cop, like these two cops come over. He like turns around. They're like, hey, buddy. And he like turns around. His face is just messed up because he obviously got the shit beaten out of him. And then the cops are like, he's like, you guys gotta help me. He's stealing my music. He's not letting me do my, all this kind of stuff. And they're like, oh, sure, whatever, man. And then one of them's like, hey, what's he got in his purse? This cop like picks up his purse and then takes like a massive quantity of smack, like of cocaine, from the other police officer, drops it in the purse, then reaches it in the purse and goes, oh,
What's this?
It's like, have you guys ever seen any of John Mulaney's like stand-up routines on Netflix?
Yes.
Some.
The one where he's talking about like street smarts, and he's talking about like, he's like, yeah, so this guy came up, he tried to mug me, and I like planted a gram of coke on him. I reached inside, I'm like, what's this? Where'd this come from? And it's like this whole thing. They're like, oh man, oh, where'd you get this smack? Oh, looks like, he gets sent to prison.
Which is also owned by Swan.
So Sing Sing is run by Swan, but also it's important to say that the cops weren't just being assholes. They were being assholes, but they also were like bribed and paid off by Swan, which is why they did that.
Yeah. And he immediately is found guilty and goes to prison. And while in prison, for no reason, he's forced to join like the dental program there that's sponsored by Swan.
Yeah, they're like these volunteers, and he's like, I'm not a volunteer, I'm innocent. And the guy goes, oh, who else is innocent here? And everybody raises their hand.
And they replace his teeth with silver teeth
with a grill.
Yeah, he looks scary now. He's so upset that he just through sheer will escapes prison. Like no plan. He just kind of causes a big mess and he's able to escape.
Well, when he gets angry, he can do anything, really.
He can literally do anything.
He's just able to escape Sing Sing prison, which I think is in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, Sing Sing, which is like basically Alcatraz.
He might as well have flown out of there. Like he might as well he goes on a truck and in a box, remember? He gets into a box and he gets out of the box and he's in the city. It's like, okay, that's fine. And then you get this just whole sequence where he goes to the death records office and he's just wrecking havoc. He's like running around and he's like he's getting chased and he like upends like plaques on the wall and like tables and he breaks down like windows and he's beating up people.
He's breaking shit. He's also William Finley is very tall. Like he's like one of the tallest people, which is kind of funny because Paul Williams is so short. And like William Finley has to be at least 6 feet tall, if not like 6'2", 6'3". And so he just towers over everybody. And then he's like rampaging around. Everybody's like, escaped convict. Yeah, it's like it seems very much like a sort of Frankenstein's monster sort of situation going on. Like incredibly angry, unable to control himself, and he's just destroying everything.
He's insane, and he just destroys like the office, and then he goes to like the record plant with all like the Faust Juicy Fruit records.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny what happens to it. I mean, it's not like funny, but like the irony of like because he like is by the record pressing machine. Yeah, his sleeve catches on the machine and it starts it, and then he slips and he falls so that his face is in the record pressing machine. And the record pressing machine, it's like, like an Indiana Jones, like, or Star Wars stuck in the trash compactor sort of situation. He's like, he can't get out. And the record machine like presses against half of his face. And like, I'm not entirely sure how like record pressing machines work, but apparently it was incredibly hot.
I think you got like, it's got to like melt plastic or something. Yeah.
But it completely like burns half of his face. Like the whole time, nothing really horrific happens until here. Like he gets beaten up and he looks really bloodied and stuff like that, but that's like real. Like back then, if a man snuck in dressed as a woman, like he would just get his shit rocked, like. And then he comes out of it I think the security officer is like, holy shit. Like the security officer is like, what is happening? And then he comes out of it and he's like scrambling away and he literally looks like Two-Face.
Yeah. It's like a Two-Face situation. Yeah. That's how it is in Phantom of the Opera, right? Like half his face is fucked up. I've never seen it.
Yes. In Phantom of the Opera, half of his face is fucked up. But he does, but I was saying specifically Two-Face because Two-Face, half of Two-Face's face got burnt off, which is what happens in this. And it's horrifying. Like his eye, you can see like a lot of his eye is exposed and it's just gross.
I love it. It's so good. Yeah. By the way, I don't understand. Like, yeah, like a guard confronts him and I guess the guard didn't do anything. He just, I mean, he is really strong and powerful at this point. So, but he's able to scramble out for some reason, get away from the guard, which is a bit of a mistake. He falls into the water. And it's like, and there's like newspaper headlines that are like,
they do the spinning newspaper thing.
You know, Swan's going to open the Paradise soon.
The best trope.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, Swan's opening the Paradise, which the Paradise is like his new venue, pretty much like his new music venue.
Yeah, it's like club.
Yeah. And I like too, where it does the thing where it like goes to the bottom of the page and it's like a smaller story. It's like some guy escaped from prison and he died. Okay. He falls into the water. And then you get the next scene, which is a POV kind of thing, which honestly, like Halloween came out like in 1977. I think that movie kind of popularized kind of like the slasher POV kind of filmmaking. 74, early, POV kind of thing going on. I don't know if Hitchcock ever utilized POV.
Psycho, but I mean, he doesn't do it very much.
There's at least like one scene in this movie that reminded me of Psycho, of course. And it's a POV shot of who we're assuming is Leech. He's walking into the Paradise, I think.
He is now become the Phantom of the Paradise.
Yeah.
Roll credits.
Yep, and that's the end of the movie. I love the design of it, by the way.
Of the Paradise?
The Phantom looks really good.
Oh yeah, he like the first thing he does is like he finds a dressing room and like puts on his costume.
He puts on his sick costume with a helmet,
it's like all black. Yeah, he finds like this cool, like kind of looks like some sort of bird, like metal mask. And he like puts makeup on too. Because like his lip, like he puts on like black lipstick and he like blacks out his eyes and stuff like that. Classic like Batman thing. So when you put on your mask, it's just all black underneath, which I think is funny that he had the time to do that.
Well, then like he also had the time to commit a bombing. This scene is so crazy. It's split screen.
So this one of my favorite scenes in the movie. And this scene is a direct homage to Orson Welles' opening Touch of Evil. It's literally that, because without the split screen part, because the opening of Touch of Evil is one long shot and it opens on a bomb and you pull back and it's put into a car and then like you follow the car along. So it's literally the same thing, just on a set. And it's fucking awesome. I love it.
Yeah, like it's split screen, but I think more or less both of the split screens are oneers. I think they're both one shot, and it's the Juicy Fruits performing Upholstery.
Yeah, singing one of his songs. Yeah,
the song is Upholstery, but it's like a recapitulation of the Faust song we heard earlier when he played it on the piano. So it's kind of like the same thing, but the song that they're singing is like a Beach Boys ripoff about how awesome it is to drive your car. And with like a girl, and then like one of the Juicy Fruits is like, hey man, he's like talking to Philbin. He's like, hey man, I'm not feeling very good. I don't think I can get it. Like I keep hearing like a ticking, and like obviously we know it's because there's actually a bomb. There's like 3 girls sit on top of it, and like there's like a bomb right under them. And yeah, and Philbin's like, bro, just like take these pills, like get over it. Then the entire stage explodes. And Swan kills the Juicy Fruits, and I'm assuming the background dancers. And Swan's just like, damn, that sucks. Yeah, the split screen shit, I mean, that's just De Palma all the way. Like I said, De Palma, like he just uses every possible trick and gimmick he can use in his movies. He just loves it. It's also incredible because like the split screens, they overrun each other.
one's like behind the stage and one's like on the stage, but then they like kind of cross paths. And just the amount of like effort that has to be put into like planning how to shoot that. And they're wonders too on top of it too, right? So it's just it's probably the most impressive scene in the movie. It's just technically impeccable.
It's really impressive. And like you said, Shannon, it explodes and it kills everyone. After he bombs the stage, he's able to get the Phantom Swan. If you stop terrorizing the paradise, which I'd like to open soon, I will give you like ample resources to finish your fucking cantata. We can make something work so we can get your Faust finished. He's like a horrible, he's like completely fucked up. He can't sing anymore. His voice is fucked up. You get basically, I think after that, the second audition scene, because they're going to audition girls again to sing for Faust.
It kind of parallels the opening scene where you have, except now it's Swan and Leech. They're like sitting in like a box or something like that. And they're watching like people like sing. And then of course, one of them, for some reason, like Phoenix decides, I should give this a second shot for some reason. Try again. I guess at first you fail, just try again. And like, as she like steps like to sing, the Phantom puts like his hand on Swan's shoulder. And he's like, that's the one. That's the woman that's gonna do all the singing and it'll be perfect.
Yeah, that's her. It's her, because obviously he liked her a lot. And then like she has like a conversation with Swan where Swan's just kind of like, will you do anything for me so you can be able to sing? And she's like, yeah, okay. Like,
I love how quickly her morals just like immediately flip. Like she's just suddenly like, yeah, I'll do whatever.
Maybe not her morals, but she's just kind of like, I don't know, maybe given up a little bit by this point. And she's a good singer. As in chorus, she sings her song, which is a great song. Special to me. It's a great song. She kills it. Yeah, I like that song a lot. It's kind of like a 70s kind of thing. It's not really nostalgia, it's more contemporary, I think. Yeah, she kills it. I like her dancing as well. She's a great dancer. I like too, like, the thing about De Palma movies is that De Palma is like obsessed with like cameras and like looking and like voyeurism and like watching things. So like kind of like a movie being a voyeuristic experience. And like there's a couple times where she's like auditioning and she looks right at the camera. Like when she's singing her song, she'll look like right into the camera. Obviously, like we've established that Swan is like recording everything, so it might be like one of his cameras. But even so, she's looking right at us, the viewer. De Palma's movies, they do that all the time, where they're just kind of like, he's obsessed with like, and there's like another scene later on that kind of delves into that too. He's just obsessed with like film and recordings and movies and watching them and listening to things, and he's just, that's just kind of how his movies are. And she sings the song and she kills it. And everyone, even the rest of the people in the audition are like, okay,
you did it. You really did.
You did it. Okay, yeah, like you're good. You killed it. And she's like, I want her.
I think it's interesting the way Brian De Palma films the music numbers in the film, because it's not like a traditional musical like Shall We Dance or Singing in the Rain or any of that shit where it's like these like large dance numbers or they're tap dancing or whatever. They're shot a lot more like a rock concert almost, like in the way that they're shot. Like a lot of them are shot on stage. They're very kind of similar to that, and like they'll have like 5 or 6 cameras up and you'll like kind of cut between them, and it feels much more like a live performance than it does in your typical musical where it's kind of like this whole planned sort of thing, which is why I think I never complain when anyone breaks into song in a film, because I just love music in films. But I think one of the reasons it works well in this film, even though this film's kind of like, the genre of it's kind of weird. I mean, it's kind of a comedy, it's kind of horror, it's kind of like this dramedy kind of thing going on. But I think the reason that the music numbers, at least for me, work so well is because it's not shot like a musical. It's shot as if like their concerts, and so like they'll kind of jump, and that's especially true with this number in the audition, right? It's basically shot as if she's singing on a stage at any sort of concert.
And even, and of course, like the final parts of the movie are literally at a concert. Like they're literally at the concert, and those are like the last couple ones are like at a concert, with like people and like audience members and stuff like that. I like too, like how like the Faust opening piano Leech one, like I think that one is filmed just like circling around him. It's like a camera and it's just like going around him in a circle. I like how that one is filmed. They're all filmed like pretty creatively in their own little ways. He's like, I want her to be the singer, and he's like, okay. Swan's like, okay. And then you get you're kind of like revealed like the Phantom's like recording studio, which looks amazing. Like tons of like equipment going on. He's got this cool piano. So he's like singing a song, and like Swan is like tinkering with it to make it sound a little bit better because his voice is fucked up. And actually, like those songs, by the way, the later parts, when the Phantom is singing, that's actually Paul Williams' voice.
Awesome.
So like when he's like singing it again, and he's like tinkering with the voice, and he's like, I nailed it. It sounds good. That's just Paul Williams singing.
That's just Paul Williams' voice.
Yeah, that's just Paul Williams. It's not William Finley.
I definitely thought it sounded better. I was like, he's improved.
I think the only song that William Finley sings is the one at the very beginning at the piano.
Is this like close to when Beef is introduced?
Yeah, I think we're getting. Are you excited to get the review?
I'm so excited for Beef.
Yeah, we get like a section of the movie where they're kind of finagling, like Swan and Phantom. They're kind of like talking, and they're like kind of recording. And I think you get the part two where he introduces him to the contract, which is a very funny scene. He like pricks his finger in blood. Yeah, he has to sign it in blood. I think this is when Beef is introduced, because you get the part, because now the Phantom is like gonna write and finish and do everything. And the Swan is going behind his back and is going to find an actual singer that is not Phoenix. Phoenix is a singer, but someone else that he actually wants. And you get that really great scene where he's at his table.
Yes, that looks like a record. How does he get in there?
That was my first thought. Does he have to like walk on top of the table and then like squish himself in there?
He has to crawl under it.
Yeah, either one.
I'm just imagining Paul Williams like crawling underneath the table and like pulling himself up into the chair. Yeah.
Everyone, he can't be looked at while doing it. Everyone has to be out of the room. And then once he's in his little table, then everybody can come in. This part of the movie is like, it's basically, the whole movie is basically making fun of popular music, right? Like how ridiculous it is. Cause he's basically like, he's like in a dark room at his table, and it's just going around the table to different bands and artists that are singing his songs. And he has like a country music star, a band, like a rock band, and they're all trying to impress him. And it's just like a spotlight will appears, and then he's like, all right, that's enough, and then just to disappear into the blackness. Yeah, it's just like one after another. He's just kind of like, nope. And then of course, this is where you're introduced to Beef.
I love Beef so much.
The name really does a lot, I think.
He's like a camp version of Meatloaf.
Yeah, he's got like a rough and tumble voice. One of the funniest scenes is when he's like performing. He's rehearsing. Sorry, he's like in his high heels, and he's doing the thing where he's like on the ground, and he's like,
and he keeps trying to get out.
That's the funniest fucking scene. Oh, that killed me. Where it's just like he keeps on slipping.
And his voice, like he's actually like not really that great of it. I mean, I think it's also just like the music too. It's like way out of his range. He's like I think he's like kind of supposed to sound like Meatloaf. He like has like that rock like baritone sort of voice. Even though his like speaking voice, he's very camp, very like flamboyant.
Yeah, I think they introduced him at a press conference, right? And he's like in a coffin, and he's all like glittery and stuff.
This is also another thing that I didn't realize until the end of the movie, when I was watching the credits, that the 3 singers, like background singers who were always there, were the same people that were the Juicy Fruits. And then they come back and they like are always like the 3 that, and they're like an actual, like I think they're like an actual band that just like come back.
I forgot about that too when I also saw the credits. I was like, oh yeah, it's just the same three guys that they have. And yeah, this whole time, like the Phantom thinks that Phoenix is the one who's going to sing his music now, when in actuality that's not the case with Swan. So like Phantom's writing all this music and stuff, and he's in his little bunker. And he's like, "Yep, Phoenix is going to sing the music. It's going to be great." He does like he pulls like an Edgar Allan Poe like cask of Amontillado type shit on him. This movie's just overloaded with so much stuff. They brick him in. They like seal him in. Well, first of all, he finishes his music, and then Swan takes it, and then they seal him into his little recording bunker. He doesn't notice because he's like completely asleep, and like he opens his door, and he sees that it's bricks, and he lets out a shriek. And I love like that shot of him like shrieking like at the top of his lungs. It really does look like he's yelling.
The only person who hears it is Beef. And like Beef is in his like dressing room, and he's like taking a shower, and he like runs on. He's like, "Oh my god, I can't wear this. Is this is terrifying. Like somebody's screaming. Did you guys hear that?" And Philbin's like, no, I didn't hear it. And he's like, "This is so scary." Like he's like freaking out.
Eve is crazy. And remember, like he gets out of the shower and he's got curlers in his hair. And for no reason, he's got like a belt with like antlers on them. And remember too, like De Palma is just insane. Like he is so coked out at this stage of his career. Like remember, like he's talking to Philbin and he's standing in front of him, and for no reason you get a shot of his antlers poking into Philbin's like stomach. No reason. It's just funny. It's just like ridiculous. Like I said, De Palma is so coked out. Like he would have had to like, all right, guys, now we're going to get the shot of the antlers poking into your gut. So we're just going to have to like, he would have to like spend like time to like, but it's so fucking weird and funny. And it's just, yeah, that's why the movie's so good. It's just so fucking what the fuck.
You get the Faust pop opera that happens, and it's like super obviously influenced, like the set design and costume design and everything, and very influenced by like German expressionist like film. It looks like the cabinet of M. Caligari. Like
it looks good. The production design in the movie is amazing.
It's really cool.
Yeah, it's so weird. And then like you said, you get the great German expressionist stage performance where you get a song. It's a good song. The guitars are like really long, and that performance is funny. And like there are like dummies like in the audience too that they're like throwing and like cutting and stuff, and
like cutting limbs off of, yeah,
that part's funny. It's not Beef though. Beef isn't the one who's singing. It's just some guy.
No, it's like the guys who played the Juicy Fruits that are playing like the sort of like background, not really background singers, but like supplementary group to like the openers, I would say, to Beef.
And then Beef actually does come on, you know, and he's rocking it.
And he comes on like it's like a Frankenstein sort of situation, which is not Faust.
It's not.
They're like, we're doing this Faust pop opera, but we're going to introduce our main singer and our lead as if he is Frankenstein's monster being electrocuted and brought to life.
And it's like a German expressionist thing going on. Yeah. It's so random. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, and of course, like Beef is performing and he's killing it. He kills the track. He doesn't sing for long though, unfortunately.
No, we see like in between like Beef's performance and the crowd going absolutely insane. We get like footage of the Phantom running around backstage, like getting ready to kill somebody, most likely Beef.
The way that he kills Beef doesn't make any sense, but whatever, I guess. Like it's almost like the neon sign of a lightning bolt is almost like actual electricity, and when it hits him, it's like he's actually being electrocuted.
Yeah, but everybody thinks it's part of the show, except for like the people who are on stage. But all of the audience members think it's part of the show because he was brought in with electricity, and now he's like being taken out of it. Yeah, and he gets set on fire. Like the curtain closes and like Beef's body is on fire, and they're like trying to put it out, and they're like trying to figure out what to do, and then they're like, Phoenix, you're on.
She sings a nice beautiful ballad.
Yeah, sure, it's fine, I guess.
It's fine. Yeah, she's wearing a white dress. And just, I guess, just because she's that good, immediately everyone's like, yeah, Phoenix, you're awesome. Like they know her name, like for some reason. I love that. I love that. They're just like, and like she's like in her dressing room, and immediately she just has like a ton of fucking fans, and everyone is going nuts. I love it too, because right after this happens, Swan immediately takes advantage of the situation and is like, yep, they love you, Phoenix. We did it together. Even though like he kept on like fucking her over again and again. He's like, yep, you did it, Phoenix. You're awesome. And he's like touching her neck and stuff. He's like immediately trying to like groom her. He's such a bad guy. Beef is like, he's awesome, but he's also like not like, I don't know, like a good guy. He's not a good person, I guess. Yeah, when he dies, it's like, like, and Phoenix, she's like the, I don't know, like perfect. And yeah, she's, talented, a good singer. She just needs her minute, and then she gets her minute, and then everyone loves her, I guess. But yeah, I'd rather see Beef perform live than like Phoenix. Yeah. So, and then like at this point in the movie, like Phantom gets Phoenix, and they go on the top of the roof and they have like a conversation. And she's like, "You're a freak," and basically that conversation is just like, "I'm Leech, like you need to get away from Swan. He's evil." And she's like, "You're a freak. I'm famous now. Go away." Like she doesn't believe that it's Leech because he's so ugly and fucked up. I guess he's disfigured.
But even if she did believe it was Leech, she only met him at one time, like literally for like 10 seconds. So like,
I mean, at the end of the movie, when she realizes it is Leech, she's like, "Oh fuck!" Like it's him. Like she kind of like makes the realization that it is Leech. But she's still like very blinded at this point because she's so famous. She's like still really high, I guess. I think after that, you get the funniest scene in the movie where Swan has convinced Phoenix to like sleep with him, and so like they're in his place, and they're like they're making out, and the Phantom is on top of the roof, and he's looking in through the window into the room watching them, and he's really sad. And the Swan, like he I totally forgot about this when I watched it again. He's like, and he like reaches his hand over, and he presses a remote, and he's watching a screen of a camera that's pointed directly at Phantom on the roof. So Swan is watching Phantom as Phantom is watching him, Swan and Phoenix like have sex. De Palma all the way. He loves that shit. It made me laugh. Palma, like, he almost kind of like presents the theory that watching a movie is voyeuristic in itself almost, especially since his movies have tons of sex and violence in them. So there is something kind of like weird and voyeuristic about watching a movie, especially like his movies. He made the movie, but yeah, and like Phantom of the Paradise is, yeah, it like I said, adds the extra layer where he's like watching him, and then like Swan is just like, okay, and he goes up on the roof.
Yeah, he doesn't care. He's like, whatever.
He gets off. He's like getting off of it.
he gets off on it. Yeah.
Yeah, he like watches the Phantom try to kill himself.
Yeah, he watches him stab himself, and then he doesn't, like, nothing happens. And Leech is like, what the fuck? And then he's like, well, I'm gonna stab you now, and he stabs him, and then nothing happens.
We're bound by a contract. We can't die. It's in the contract that we can't kill ourselves.
Yeah, he's like, I'm also under contract.
Then you get the backstory, and it's
sharp left turn.
Yeah, just like, what the fuck? Like, this is the greatest movie ever made. The Phantom is like, okay, what the fuck? So he like gets into, I think, his like recording place, and he's got like rows and rows of tapes, just tons of fucking tapes. And he's like, what the fuck? And he finds one in particular tape that he plays, and he's like, okay, what is this going on? So it turns out that Swan several years ago he decided to kill himself.
because he was getting old.
He's getting old. Yeah.
You want to know I'm killing self? I'm getting old. And we're like, oh, okay.
He looks like young Scott Walker in the video, by the way. He looks like a young Scott Walker. He's like, I'm getting old. He's like looking in the camera. I'm getting old. And then, yeah, it takes a sharp left turn where the mirror behind him shows him like an evil version of himself talking to him. He's like, who are you? It's like, go by many names. Just, he does.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you're the devil. And he's like, yeah, I go by many names. So you're like, oh, okay.
It's the devil.
Beelzebub. There he is. Yeah.
And he's like, okay, you will live forever. You will never age.
But there will be a painting of you it's quite literally the picture of Dorian Gray.
It's picture of Dorian Gray. Yeah. You have to preserve the tape and you have to like look at the picture of yourself every day, I think is what the stipulation is. Just totally crazy, like out of nowhere. At this point, like there's not like a lot of fantastical elements, but all of a sudden it's like, oh, Swan can't die, the Phantom can't die, and the Swan like sold like his soul to the devil so he could like live forever. And picture of Dorian Gray, like out of nowhere, like in the last 10 minutes of the movie, it's like, oh, it's picture of Dorian Gray.
Yeah, and also like Faust comes back at the same time too, though. You're like, oh, so Faust has been Swan the whole time, because you're like, where did Faust go? Like, where, beside it being like the pop opera, where did it go? And then it was like, oh, okay, I understand now. Swan is Faust and also Dorian Gray.
So Phantom, yeah, he's like, okay, I understand now. He's like, okay, this is crazy, but whatever. Like he immediately accepts it. But once again, you know, you get like cameras and footage, so you know the Phantom, he can kind of see what's going on, and they're going to kill Phoenix. And I think they want to kill her because there'll be more press, or you know, her music will suddenly cost more.
Yeah, he says it's a spectacle. It's entertainment.
And he's also going to get married to her. I love that too. Like he's going to like, Swan's going to get married to Phoenix, which is already like something that Phantom hates. But while they're getting married, they're going to shoot Phoenix in the head.
Yeah, they're going to assassinate her. They've got like a mafia like hit guy that like is setting up as well.
Yeah, he's like getting out a sniper rifle and like putting on the silencer, and Philbin's like marrying them too, and he's got like, for some reason the stage show is crazy. Yeah, he's like dressed up in like the Catholic priest shit, and like for some reason the stage show is crazy, and he's like gonna marry them. And yeah, everything is like crazy, like the stage show is nuts. And Phantom, he you know, basically runs into the paradise to stop it. He's able to thwart the sniper rifle guy, but he shoots Philbin in the head. So he's gone. And I think before that too, Phantom, he destroys the tape and he destroys the painting. Yeah, he destroys everything.
Swan is like, I'm gonna wear a mask during the thing.
And you know, Phantom, he goes on stage and there's like a little fight. And Swan, yeah, like you said, he's wearing a mask, but he takes it off. He has a horrifying face. It's like he peeled the skin off of his face or something like that, and he just has like a muscly red face. It's almost kind of burnt. It's gross. And yeah, like the Phantom, he kills him, right? He kills Swan.
Well, he like starts to stab him, but like the whole audience is like, this is still a show, and they're all like going crazy. It's the 70s. Everybody's like probably snorting lines.
Yeah, everyone's going nuts. They're like, yes.
And they're like, yeah, snorting lines. They're like doing coke, you know, that kind of stuff. So they're all like high off their minds, and they think that this is all still part of the show. And they see, because everybody's wearing like costumes. Like every single person is like the Phantom's outfit is a costume. He didn't just like, you know, decide to put a mask on and wear street clothes. Like he's like, I have to put on a costume as well. And so he like starts to stab Swan, and then like some guys that are around are like, oh yeah, this is part of the show. And then they start to stab Swan too. And like Swan's like wearing like a white suit that is like now covered in blood, and they like pick him up and is like hoisting him around. And there's like two guys that are just covered in blood by the end of the film that like aren't hurt or anything. There's like one guy who's like shirtless. He's like kind of in the background, and his hands are covered in blood. His entire chest is covered in blood, and he's just like bouncing around and like dancing and shit, like raving at the end of the film. It's just insane.
Yeah, that part is unbelievably crazy. And I think like once he kills Swan, I think retroactively the stab wound from earlier kind of takes effect, right? And so I think
Swan stabs him.
Oh, he does? Okay, never mind. Sorry.
I think it's like really, really quick, but I think Swan also stabs him.
So he's dying, and he's like crawling on the ground, and you get like these great close-ups of his fucked up face, but everybody around him is like, as he's crawling on the ground and he's like trying to get closer to Phoenix, everybody around him is like, yeah, okay. Yeah, this is awesome. Yeah. And yeah, like he said, everyone's covered in blood, and right when he dies is when Phoenix realizes, oh, it's Leech. Oh, I feel bad. And then she like hugs him.
The blood, super realistic.
I love it. I love the bright, it's like a red orange, like
the spaghetti sauce, like blood. It just looks like paint.
Yeah, it looks like, yeah. Oh, I love it so much. That's the end of the fucking movie. That's it. It's a tragedy. Everyone died except Phoenix. You got people either got like set on fire, shot in the head, stabbed, just every conceivable way. That's the fucking film.
So I didn't know what to expect going into this, which is good. Because it really did blow my mind. I try not to be elitist when it comes to like, I'm not really like when it comes to film, but like when it comes to things that are like obviously inspired by theater, my like viewpoint like shifts. Like there's plenty of bad films that I absolutely love just because like I just think they're hilarious. But then when it becomes something that's like modeled after theaters and I'm like incredibly critical of it. So while I was watching this, I did have fun while I was watching this, which is good. It was incredibly entertaining. De Palma's great, fantastic. Guy's got a weird, strange mind. I wasn't a huge fan of the music. I mean, I think maybe if I listened back to it like on its own, maybe I would enjoy it more. But like there was just something that I just wasn't enjoying while I was watching it. It was incredibly camp, especially beef. If this whole film had been just about beef, it'd be like a 10 out of 10 for me. But he was hilarious. I did enjoy it. I did have fun. I don't know. Like I literally can't explain to you the reason why something is stopping me from liking it, so, like from loving it, because it seems like it would be something that I would really, really love. I can't give it higher than like a 5 out of 10.
Unlike Shannon, I was pretty well aware of what the experience was going to be. I didn't know much about the movie. I hadn't seen it before, but you never shut up about Brian De Palma. And I've gotten pretty well aware of your interests in film. So I had a pretty good idea of the experience that I was going to have. It started off with some real bops. I love the music in this. I think it's really enjoyable. I really loved almost every song in this. I just really rocked out to it. By the end of the film, I realized that the Phantom of Paradise is basically just a superhero origin story. I mean, it's a guy, take a second to think about it, like just 10 seconds, honestly, because there's this guy and, he wants the world and he doesn't get it. He's beaten down. And so then after getting beaten down, he comes back. He has a costume. He has a new identity. He has superhuman strength. He has a love interest. It follows all of the beats of your classic origin story, superhero, supervillain. I mean, down to the costumes and the supervillains and the superpowers, just all of it, which isn't a complaint or, not a complaint. I just thought it was interesting look on it. There are things about this I really enjoyed. I mean, the split screen scene is honestly one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Impeccable filmmaking. Of course, any homage to Orson Welles is always going to be something that I love. And just what a straight and direct homage to it was. And so impeccably done and beautiful and thoughtful and interesting and amazing. And that scene by itself is just fucking incredible. I mean, that scene is a 10 out of 10 scene. It's a perfect scene, honestly. As far as the film as a whole goes, it's a little much for me. It's a little too out there. For me, it's just a lot of things, and it's I know it's supposed to be like campy and ridiculous, but it's just a little too much for me. So I'm gonna give this film a 6 out of 10.
I feel you. Yeah. I mean, yeah, for me, I mean, it's no surprise, I really do love the movie. I think when I first watched it, I wasn't like super crazy about it. I liked it a lot, but I don't think I was super incredibly in love with it. But I think watching it again and then thinking about it a lot more, I think its uniqueness like really like spoke to me the second time around, even though the movie borrows a ton from other filmmakers, other musicals and plays, books and literature, music, like rock music and kind of like rock personalities. It's not based, the movie itself isn't based off of like a Phantom of the Paradise like show or play or musical. It's completely like its own film creation, which I find very interesting, because I just find that very like interesting that it's just completely its own kind of like cinematic thing. Yeah, for me, I really do think this might be like my favorite like musical film. Honestly, like just because like it's completely, like you said, off the walls bonkers. I think it's really funny. I think all the music is fun. I think like the cast is really good. It's only 90 minutes long and it just completely just like goes Paul Williams is like a really great composer, so I think everything is well done. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I see what you guys are saying definitely, because when I first watched it too, I was just kind of like, it's very much all over the place, very random, just kind of doesn't seem to have like a real focus. But I think watching it again really solidified like how actually like strong the film is and how creative it is, in nearly every regard, and just how like it really kind of comes together in a weird way. And I mean, this is a movie too that like it came out and it did not do well and like it failed pretty much. And I think also De Palma was being sued by like 3 or 4 different people because of the movie. He was like being sued by like all kinds of different people. The guy's name is Swan, and there's like a Swan record label that was suing him or something like that. And I think like maybe people who own like the Phantom of the Opera like copyright or whatever were suing him, and like 3 or 4 different like people were suing him over it. So I think like, yeah, it's like a movie that I think is really good, but I think has brought nothing but pain for him. But in retrospect, it's such a good, exciting film with like a lot going on. And yeah, I just like a good movie like that. And I think watching it a second time, it just solidified to me like it's perfect. It's a 10 out of 10 for sure.
All right, y'all. Thank you for listening. To find early access and exclusive content, go to patreon.com/lifethroughfiction. You can find anything I do at AustinLuca12.
Yeah, you can find me at Twitter at ADHarp24 or on Letterboxd, RETR0, Andrew.
And you can find this podcast wherever you hear podcasts. You can also find us on Instagram, YouTube, and Letterboxd at With Nothing to Say Podcast. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you.